Welcome in, guys, into my 2024 divisional round for the Commanders and the Lions. Again, going into this game, obviously, last week we had a bye week last week, and the Commanders they won their playoff game last week, beating the Bucks, and this was the first playoff win in like 33 years, something like that. But yeah, going into this game. Um, like I said, we beat the Vikings to get a number one seed at the end of the season, blah, 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 and then got to this game. And then a lot of times this season, especially with this game as well, it was really, again, we've had some of these games this season where we've come up against a good team like the Commanders, like the Bills. I think other teams where again the defensive side of the ball has been exposed. It wasn't really a great day for the defensive side of it. I know we have injuries and whatever, but ultimately, that was the real big problem I think in this game was um, was ultimately the defensive line, the offensive line, and the defense as a whole. In the off season, in the draft, we need a couple of starters in the trenches in the offensive line. Because Goff got turned over 5 times in this game, 5 turnovers, not really the best, but again, it has to be addressed in the offseason. Again, we need more additions in the wide receiver, I think, in my opinion, as well, running back, but especially the offensive line needs addressing. You cannot game turned over 5 times in a division game. Um, then the defense as well. A lot of injuries. Aiden Hutchinson going down really kind of was one of those things like was a real big loss for us. I know we have Kirby Joseph and we have Carlton Davis. I know we have those guys, but again, very depleted defense. I think, in my opinion. Um, then let's talk about the game. So ultimately, it's we start from a good start with it was Williams with a touchdown to make it 0-7 in the first. Well, Jamal Gibbs to make it 0-7 in the first. And ultimately, Jamal Gibbs hit 0-7 and then 0-7. Plus the Lions ahead with a first down to make it 0-7, and then um, the Commanders getting themselves back in the game with a second and third to make it 10-7, and then later on in the game, second half of the game, Ertz makes it 31-21, and then it's 24-21, and then uh, and then 31-28 in the second half. Then we give away a penalty. Which is stupid, but that happens. And then at the end of the game, I want to talk really about the end of the game, which was you had Ben Johnson playing. Obviously, this is going to be this was his last game as a Lions offensive coordinator, and he's there playing it. He's playing a wide receiver option to Jamar Gibbs. He's telling Jamar Gibbs to play a wide receiver option when you're down 2 touchdowns and you need to get 2 scores to tie the game. You're playing a wide receiver option. Like, what the hell was that all about? But ultimately, um, 45-31 was the end, and Commanders win the first division game in 30 years. I mean, congrats for them, especially when you look at the Commanders this year, and they had a new head coach, a new ownership, obviously from the year before, a brand new, a new quarterback, and a lot of people had a lot of doubts about Dan Quinn being the head coach, but ultimately, um, he's done fantastically well. In my opinion, he's got to be one of the coaches of the year, in my opinion. Especially what he's done. He's a defensive-minded head coach, and he's getting the best out of this team, especially with Jaden Daniels. And Jaden Daniels looks like he is the guy. They're 2 games away from they're a game away from the Super Bowl now, and it's just great for what they've done. The Commanders, they're just one game away from the Super Bowl, and just fantastic stuff. But ultimately for the Lions, like I said, offensive line we need to address. We need to work on get some wide receivers, but especially that defensive side of the ball has been an issue majority of the season, and it has to be addressed this offseason in the draft, the free agency. Do what you got to do. And for Ben Johnson, obviously this is Ben Johnson's last game as a offensive coordinator for the Lions. He's going to the Bears. Football's going to be but again, I think it's a good fit for Ben Johnson. Goes to Chicago. Hopefully he gets the backing and he gets the right team around him so he can build something in Chicago, I guess. Just for him. I don't care for the Bears, but just for Ben Johnson, I want to see him succeed as a head coach. He's done really well in Detroit for the last 4 years for us, and I want to see him do well and see what he can do with Caleb Williams. And then Aaron Glenn. This could be Aaron Glenn. Potentially he's going to be going as well. Maybe to the Jets or whoever. But yeah, the season ends with the divisional round. Yeah, Jaden Daniels threw for 22 out of 31 yards, 249 yards. Goff had 27 out of 40 throws, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. And that is my review. So I'll see you in a couple of days. I'm going to start doing some scout reports now and talking about some of these draft picks I did about a couple of days ago. Now that the season's ended, and I can fully put my focus now into draft videos and talk about that now. I also talk about Super Bowl as well, but